guys, happy weekend. Hope you're well. My name's Kayla, if you didn't know that. And I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator from Tasmania in Australia. This is pre-recorded, so I'm talking like I'm in the future, but I'll still be live in the comments. So still chat away, ask questions if you want to, and I will be there to answer them. So I'm pre-recording because I have an insanely busy week. I've been recording lots of things, trying to get prepared, trying to pack some boxes for moving in May. I know that seems like I'm being really prepared, but I'm one of these people that hates being last minute. So I want to get that packed. So I've been really busy. So I thought it may happen a few times in the future where I have to pre-record. But I'll always try and pop in, always answer questions. So say hello, let me know where you're from. I love hearing from you. So, yes, I know that on Saturday, so that's when this will go live, I have an online class, a monthly class that I'm doing with the Stamping Lounge. So I thought I'm going to pre-record this because I'm probably going to be wrecked. We are presenting 3 projects with the Wildflower Birthday Suite this weekend. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Stamping Lounge is a bit of a crafting learning website that I run with my friends Maya Shwari, Rajaguru, and Rochelle Laird-Smith. You can see all the details on the stampinglounge.com, which will be linked in the comments. We always have a monthly class. So this month it's using the Wildflower Birthday, and we have regular content going up. We have online retreats. The next one's coming up in June, second week of June. The date will be there. And yeah, we have lots of content. We have a fun fold lounge for those that love fun folds. We have a color lounge, a sketch lounge. There is lots of stuff on there. It is a monthly membership, but you can cancel at any time. There's no lock-in contract, so they say. But there's loads of stuff. Now we use the majority of products we use are Stampin' Up, but they're absolutely transferable to whatever medium, whatever product, whatever you use. So it's all about learning paper craft on that website. So we do have a scrapbooking lounge that's launching soon. There's lots and lots of stuff. I personally really like the tips and tricks section of our website. Some really cool stuff on there. So that is what's happening there. You can check it out in the link in the comments and sign up. You can sign up wherever you are in the world, by the way. We have lots of people from different places. So what I'm sharing today is some new products, brand new, it's brand new, but not even released yet. So I was lucky enough to attend on stage with a bunch of other Stampin' Up demonstrators back, I was going to say last month, but it's still this month. So it was a couple of weeks ago. And as part of that, we both got some new product at the event, but we were also able to order product early. But if you are a Stampin' Up demonstrator, you can actually order it now. So it's available for demonstrators to pre-order, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I have I don't think I do. But yeah, if you want to get the product now, because it's not available till the 6th of May, you can join my team. So if you join my team, you actually can purchase a thing called a starter kit. And in that, you can choose $235 of whatever product you like. And that includes the product that they have released for pre-order. Now, I believe all the things I'm using today, you can actually get now if you choose that option. So you can choose $235 of product, and then when you get your demo sign-in, all those things, you can actually place an order and get more than that. And you get at a discount. And that brings me to the fact that we do have a new rewards program. So I've mentioned it on my Facebook page, and I sent out an email, which you can join my email list if you hit the link in the comments. But now we have changed to the new rewards program here in the South Pacific. So and this applies to demonstrators as well. So that's why I wanted to mention this. For every $35 retail that you spend, you will gather and accrue 10% in stamping rewards to spend on future orders. Very, very cool program. Now I've got my head around it. I'm very, very excited about it. So when you place those orders, even if you're a demonstrator, you will accrue 10% to spend on future orders. So if you join and get the discount, get those new products early, you can also start placing orders and accruing rewards. Now, I do hope my screen's not flickering. It's flickering on my end, and I can't do anything about it. I'm hoping it's just my computer saying goodbye to me, because honestly, I don't know what it's doing. But yes, anyway, that is starting now. Now, if you're one of my customers or you go to shop with me, our box, and you've never done it, you've never shopped since this program came into play, there will be a box that pops up, which you can see in this image here, that says sign up for Stampin' Rewards. So you do need to click that box to say that you're agreeing to get those rewards. So, I mean, who wouldn't agree to get free product? So that will pop up, and that will just, welcome you to the program, basically. And then there's a cool little thing that you can go to with your rewards dashboard, where you can see how many rewards you have, how much longer you have to use them. So when you get rewards, they do last for 12 months. Now, you may get $20 reward on one order. That will expire 12 months from that order date. Then you may have $40 in your account, but 20 of those dollars expire before the other $20. So it automatically calculates that for you. You can log into your dashboard at any time and check your balance and how your reward points are sitting. I think it's really cool. It reminds me of like our frequent shopper rewards. Very, very cool. Awesome system that's fair for everyone. I love it. So that is now happening. So I don't think I will talk about any of the other stuff at the moment, because I know that you want to see crafting. So I'm going to pop this out of the way, because I'm actually not allowed to share the inside. Now, if you are a customer of mine, if you shop with me recently, you will get one of these in the mail from me. If you want one, place an order with me of any amount and you will get one of these in the mail. So I do send these to my customers. They're a beautiful catalogue. You can see it's nice and thick. It's got lots of ideas in it. So I do send out those to my customers. So let's get started. I hadn't decided. I did share a sneak peek of these last week, but I wanted to share some projects made with the Peaceful View stamp set. So I made 3 cards because I love this stamp set so much. I did win it out on stage as a prize patrol, and I wanted to share how I did these sort of 3 different ways. So this stamp set looks like this. It is a background size stamp, and when I first saw it, I was really inspired by just the black, like just making it a silhouette scene. So that's what I wanted to create. I also did an alternative where I've done it coloured and I've used some sponge daubers. So I wanted to share with you those 3. I've cut out the pieces to actually make this card with you. It depends on how time goes and how much I talk, because we're getting to the end of a school day, so my son will come home, as to whether I can make all 3 cards with you. So we'll see. I am using a couple of additional products that are new as well. So one of the cards uses this beautiful gallery 6x6 paper. This is absolutely stunning. It has some beautiful scenery style patterns on it. So I am going to use one of these on the cards as well. Look how pretty that one is. Really, really cool designs. So I love this one with the boats. I don't know. I think that's really pretty. So, yeah, I'm going to use this today, and you'll see how I've used that. So all of these products I'm showing you can get now on a pre-order. I'm also using from the same suite here the Gallery Blooms dies. So on the cards, I've used this one here and this one as a decoration, but I've also used this frame here on this one. So you can see it's a gold foil frame, very, very pretty. I've used that one. So that's the Gallery Blooms dies. And then for my sentiments, I've actually used this new bundle that's from the online exclusives that are pre-order as well. So we do have a set of online exclusives as well as the annual catalogue pre-order happening. So very, very exciting. I love this set. I thought I'll see how I go for time, but I may stamp it out with you and show you how it works, because it does have matching dies. This is a great beginner bundle to have, because you're going to get dies for lots of different genres of card. I always keep my extras that I have in a little baggie on the inside so that I can come here and grab a sentiment if I need. But I might show you how I've used that if I get some time. So the other new product I'm using is these, because who wouldn't love a pretty embellishment? These are all the in colors and they're very, very pretty. They're called the in color flat pearls. So very, very cute. Now, so let's get started. I'm going to start off by showing you how I did each of the backgrounds with that stamp. So I'll pop these to the side and we'll get started. We're going to do a little bit of heat embossing. I am going to use my stamping platform. So I do use a Misty. I do have a Stamparatus as well, but whatever you have works fine. I like to use a stamping platform when I'm using a big stamp like this one. I find it easier than managing as an F block or something. The F block is our biggest, I think. So I just prefer to be able to mount it on one of these. So I'm going to peel this off and get that out. I do have some bits and bobs cut. So I will want 2 bits of the basic white, and they're going to be what I do my background on. And this is the pattern paper that I chose out of that paper set that I'm going to stamp on. So I'm just going to share a little example. How pretty is the back as well? So I've cut these basic white pieces to 10.5 by 14.8, or you would do it 4 1/4 by 5.5. So I've cut a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. And then I will cut it down. The reason for that is it's very hard to line this up and get the sides exact. So I find it better to use the full sheet and then cut it down. So let's pop our piece of cardstock in. Now, heads up, I do have a sticky, it's a big sticky block of photopolymer in here, and that holds this sheet in place without needing a magnet. These are called the Waffle Flower Grip Mat, I think, and I do have them linked in my Crafty favorites, which you can find up the top of my website. Now, if you don't know what my website is, you can find it here, and on the top bar there should be a link called My Crafty Faves. That's where you'll find the products that I use that aren't Stampin' Up. I don't like, obviously my main purpose is Stampin' Up, but there are a couple things that you can't buy from Stampin' Up that I use. So that's where you'll find those. Okay, so I'm going to just place this stamp over the top here, covering that bit of white, and I'm going to put that in place. And now I want to do some Versamark because I'm going to heat emboss this, but I'm also going to take a sip of my coffee. Nothing better than cold coffee. Okay, so then I'm going to take my Versamark now, and I'm going to really give this a good ink. There's quite a bit of surface to stamp on here, so I want to make sure that I'm really inking this up well. I found the hardest bit to get stamped well is this middle branch here, but I'm going to just pop that over, and I do apologise for the reflection that's happening here from my lights. Okay, so I want to give that a good stamp, give it a good press. And then the reason I also like using the Misty is I can pull that up, and I realise that's probably very hard for you to see, but I can see that it's got a nice stamped impression. I'm just going to move this to the side now, and I'm going to bring in my embossing tray here. And it's a little bit wet there because I gave it a clean out. Okay, so let's bring this sheet in. I've got some black embossing powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle my black over my image. I'm running out of black. I think I need to do a top-up order. By the time I do these backgrounds, I think I might need some more black, or I might have some, I'm not sure. I'm pretty bad at doing stock take of my suppliers sometimes. That's why I end up with multiples of everything. Okay. Got that bit, then we can pop this back in and do the top. That's why this embossing tray is so handy. You can purchase these. It's called the Embossing Editions Toolkit, and it comes with the tray as well as a couple of tools like some reversible tweezers and embossing buddy and a little brush. You might be able to just get those corners by dipping that back in. Okay. See. Tell how low I am on that black. I think That should be good enough. We're going to blend over the top. You can give it a bit of a tap to get any excess off. Now, I should have heated up my heat gun. It's going to give that a bit of a heat. Let's see, can I multitask and tip this back in? I think I'm going to have to possibly get out my other black, because this is going to be a bit of a stretch, I think. Okay. So let's give this a heat. You're going to have to watch me do a bit of heat embossing. I do apologise. I'm hoping that it will be worth it. I love the magic of heat embossing. It's still beautiful every time you see it melt. Okay, so I'll do this remaining side. Okay, I think it's all melted. Beautiful. I did get a little bit of, oopsie. I did just, don't do that to your embossing. It does look a bit silly after you do that, but that's okay because we're going to add some sort of mixed media. Okay, so we might just heat emboss the other one. So the other background that we're going to do on the DSP is also heat embossed. So I figured we may as well do those first. So what I'm going to do with this one is lift this up and sort of eyeball where we might want that to go. I think I kind of want the more dense trees. So I'm going to put it over this side. You will lose some of them because, you know, your embossed trees are going to cover that up. Now, I might actually add my embossing buddy because then I won't get so much of that extra on the edge. So let's do the same thing. Just going to add our Versamark on here. It's got a real good ink, and then we're going to pop that one over. Now we are going to cut this seam down because we're going to pop it in the frame. Now, I don't know if I'll make the full cut of this one live, but we'll see. As long as I can show you the 3 different techniques of stamping this background, I will be happy. Okay, so we've got this all Versamarked up. Now we want to add our black embossing powder. Now I don't know how much of this we're going to have left. Let's just see how we go. Okay. I may have to get the other one out of my drawer. Good time to run out of embossing powder when you're doing a live video. I'm trying to get rid of this old stuff before I try and mix in some new stuff because in case you didn't realise, embossing powder does actually expire and go off. So I don't really, although it's not that old, I don't want to mix my embossing powder if I can. I want to try and use up as much of that as I can first. So I think we're going to have to say goodbye. That's all the embossing powder I've left. Look at that empty jar. So our embossing powders come in a pack of 3. There's two different packs. You've got your metallics as well as your basics. So in this basics pack, it comes with black, white, and clear. Look at that, much better. Okay, we'll tip it up this side and get the top of our tree happening. Shows you how much I heat emboss when I've used up a whole jar. I think I missed a little bit through here, but that should be okay. Okay, so now we can tip all of this one back in here. Oops, she's a bit full now. Okay, now we need our heat tool again. This one, because it's thinner paper, is going to melt quicker. Okay, so that you can see is all glossy, very, very pretty. So we've got our white as well as our pattern paper one. So now let's do, well, first of all, let's give our stamp a bit of a clean. So I'm just going to pull in my stamping chamois. I think that will be quickest. I don't need to worry about giving it too much of a clean, but I just want to wipe off some of that Versamark. Okay, there, we've got a clean start. Now we want to bring in our base again. So we've got our white base. Just want to work out where that's gonna hit. I think I want to move it over just a tiny bit, and that should be pretty good. Okay, so we've got our white down. Now we're going to do a multicolored background. I'm just going to top up on my caffeine again. Now, the way we're going to do this is using our new ink colours. Oh, goodness, reach. So I've got the four of the colours, even though there are 5. If you hadn't heard the update, the Cloud Cover ink colour ink pad, how that's a big sentence, has been pulled away from sale at the moment because they were having an issue with the ink. So hopefully we'll see that again soon, but at the moment it's not available. Now, what I'm going to do is grab some sponge daubers. So I've already sorted out my sponge daubers and put my 5 colours, even though I don't have the Cloud Cover ink pad at the moment. And I've got my ink colours in together as well as the sponge dauber for my white, my Versamark, my Memento. You might notice some of these are spares because your sponge daubers will disintegrate and get a bit hard over time, so you do need to replace them every now and then. So I like to have those spares ready to pull from. Now, so you can see what I'm doing, I might turn this to the side as it's a lot easier. And I am going to show you what colours I have used for this scene. So I did actually use an additional colour, and that is Pecan Pie, which I might have to get out of my other case. So these cases I use for my sponge daubers are Hold 40, I think, I'm pretty sure. So I do have 2 cases. So I just want to pull out my Pecan Pie. Now, if you want this printable for sorting out cases, I do have it available for Stamping Lounge members. So check out that membership and you'll see where that is. So I'm going to start with my Pecan Pie. So I'm going to open up my ink pad. And then I am going to focus on inking up my fence. Now, this will not be perfect because you're going to ink up some of the grass in Pecan Pie, but that is fine. It's the overall look we're going for. So I want to ink up all of that fence in Pecan Pie. Going over. You could do this with Stampin' Up markers as well. That might look nice. Now, the cool thing about doing this with a MISTI or a stamping positioner is that you can go back in. So we can stamp this down, see how it looks, and then go back again. So let's just have a look. Got that covered. Now let's just give that some pressure to put that ink down, and it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to pop my pecan pie to the side, and now I'm going to come in with my Secret C dauber, and I've got my Secret C ink. This colour is gorgeous. I do really love it. It's a very hard colour to describe, but I'm just going to tap this down the bottom. So my mission with this card was to actually play with the new in colours. Well, actually all 3 cards have new in colours on them. So I really wanted to get my feel for the new in colours. Sometimes when you're sort of experimenting with new colours, it's best to just get in and play with them. And learn how they work with our other colours as well. So just mix and match and have a play. So there we go. I'm just going to come back in. So if you find you've got like circular looking bits on your card where you can see where you've sponged that down, just go back in and keep adding until you're happy. You can even go directly to the piece if you want and just add that remaining colour from the dauber. You can really move that colour around. Now what we're going to do is come in with our other colours. So I'm going to start with my lightest colour, I think, which would be the Darling Duckling. And I'm going to come in and add this onto my tree branches, because when I come in with the darker colours, it's going to go over some of this. So you don't have to worry about keeping the areas separate, because they're going to kind of blend together a little bit. So I just want to add a little bit of Darling Duckling, knowing that, you know, if I do a larger area, it's not going to stay that way. Let's add that down. You can see that looking beautiful. Now, I've got a bit of blobs, but we'll see how that works out. I'm going to go with my Timid Tiger. Isn't that an interesting name? Timid Tiger. Okay, so let's come in and we're going to add in our Timid Tiger to these branches again. So I'm being quite light with the sponge. You could even add a flicking motion if you want. So you don't want it to look like circle. You can just kind of touch and flick it a little bit. So you can change the technique that you're using. Okay, let's come down with that one. Pretty. Now we're going to add in our strawberry slush. I'm keeping those ink pads open to the side because I may have to go back in. So we'll see how that goes. Now, I think I need to give this, I find with this stamp, it's this top bit here that struggles to stamp. So you'll find that all of your stamps sort of, you've got to learn your stamp basically. So they're all like to be stamped in different ways sometimes, and you'll learn the pressure points that you need. Okay, so I'm coming in with my strawberry slush, and this is probably the most intense colour, I think. You may disagree, but that's why I'm adding this one last. Okay, so let's just stamp that down. Very pretty. And you'll see I want some more on this side, I think. So the cool thing is you can sort of come back in and repeat however many times that you want. I'm pretty happy with that. And I actually think the reason I love this is because it looks like an autumn tree. So I really quite like how that worked out. Now, I don't think I won't need this stamp again. So I'm going to close up these ink pads. I will give this a clean because I'm not sure yet if I'm going to show the other stamp or not. So I'll give this a clean because I may need to take this off. Put that to the side for a second. The other thing I'm going to do to this, and I might just put in a little thing here, is I'm going to add a little bit of colour. Now, if we had cloud cover, you could add that, but in this case, I'm going to add a little bit of Pool Party. I think I did have, oh no. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Pool Party. I'm just going to brush some off, and quite literally using my small blending brush, I'm just adding that touch of blue sky in this background. So I'm even coming in these gaps here. So I want to remove that stark white and have a beautiful sky in that background. So I'm bringing that in, and what I found I did on the other one, but I had to go very lightly, was add some Azure Afternoon. So I'm just going to touch a little bit there and just add some sections of that darker blue. I thought the variation looked quite nice. So I'm just going to add, it's very subtle, but just adding that little bit of variation was pretty. So I did that as well as spritzing a very tiny bit of the Azure Afternoon using a Stampin' Wrap marker. I'm using a brush tip end and the cap, and I quite literally just spritzed the tiniest amount over that sky. So you can see now the effect. So you get this autumn tree with the really fun sky happening there. So I'll pop that to the side. So we've got, this does curl up because, you know, you're adding all that Versamark and the heat to that paper. So you could sit that under something heavy to flatten it out if you want. And I might actually just move my light and sit it under there for a minute. The same with this one. It just happens when you're using those different mediums. So you can curl it back. You can sit it under something heavy if you want. I'm going to grab back in this mat here because we're going to do some blending to this one. So we're doing an embossed resist technique. And I'm going to use Strawberry Slush, Timid Tiger, and Darling Duckling to do this background. So I'm going to start with my Timid Tiger. Bring in my blending brush, and I'm going to start down the bottom here. This one, like, it's different. It's not a pumpkin pie, and it's darker than your peach pie. It's really, really beautiful. Now, I want to move into my Strawberry Slush. I should have kept that open because generally you find that you've got to blend these together again after you've finished. So I'm going quite heavy with my blending, but then again, I really like heavy blended looks. So if you want to go lighter, go lighter. Blend over your two lines so you're blending them together. Then come in with your Darling Duckling. I want to add that up the top. Once again, sort of blending over those two lines. Now, you should have enough left on your brushes if you want to come back in and blend a little bit more. So I'm going to pull that Timid Tiger and just blend that a little bit more. How pretty is that? Okay, so let's close these up. I also did another fun technique that I love to do, and that is, I'm just going to grab one that's got some water in it. I'm going to grab a water painter, drip out some of that water, and actually drop some onto my background to create some splatters. That's going to pull that ink up. So if you can see on this card, you've got those, they sort of look a bit bleached. It's a really fun effect. You can sit that to the side to dry, and that will create that fun background. So let's just give this a wipe off. I get asked a lot what this is. It's an old Stamparatus foam mat. I just like that I can wipe it dry when I'm doing videos. So that's why that's there. Okay, so I'm just going to tidy the space up a little bit so I've got some room. And we're going to cut these down. So What time is it? 2:15. Okay. So I want to cut this one. We started off with what, 10.5. We're going to cut it down to 9.7. So when I'm cutting it down, I like to cut a bit off each edge so I get a nice edge. So I want to cut, actually, I need to go this side first because I'm thinking my measurements were funny, and that's because of the size of the stamp. So I'm just going to trim that. What have we got this way? We can only have a maximum of 13.8 if you're using metric measurements. So I will convert these, but we can only have 13.8 that way. So normally I would go 14.1, so that's 0.3 different. So normally if I go 9.7, I need to go 9.5. Sorry, I'm doing a maths live with you on video. It's always handy, isn't it? So I want to cut this one down to 9.5. I hope I've got that right. So I'm just cutting a little bit from each edge, so I'm still keeping that seam in proportion. Then we want to do the same with this one. It's still drying a little bit, but we should be fine. So we're going to cut our edges here. What did I say it was? 13.8. Just, I think it's actually sitting pretty good on the bottom there. And then we want 9.5. So I'm going to cut a little bit off that edge. And then a little bit off this edge. And we've got our beautiful seam there. So we've got our two seams. And then for the other one, we're actually going to use that frame die on this one. So I'll pull out the die and I shall do that with you. So we want the Gallery Blooms dies. Now this is a cool die. I'm glad that I can actually show you because I'll show you how that works. It's fun sometimes to play around with dies as well because sometimes we don't realise how they cut until we have a play with them. So it's quite a big die, but I'm just going to use some of these, I think it's called textured metallic specialty paper. It comes with a gold, sort of a pewtery colour and a copper. Okay, so I'll pull in my big boy. This is Gerard. Does anyone else name their machines? I've got Gerard and Jude. They're both actors that I love, that I think are a bit all right. If you name your machine, you have to tell me what its name is. Okay, so I've cut that out, and the cool thing about this die, and it's why you need to do a pre-order, and if you're not a demonstrator, you just need to be one so you can get this stuff early. Put that back away. So this die cuts out 3 pieces. So you've got your big frame, your medium frame, and then you get a leftover rectangle that you could use for something else. Very cool. I love that this frame has the beveled edges. Very pretty. So you're going to basically choose a section of your tree that's going to be framed. So let's just cut. I'm just going to use scissors to cut this down because I know that I'm going to put it behind the frame anyway. So I'm just being really, really quick and really messy because that's just the best kind of crafting. Now I'm going to adhere my frame over the top. There's a little bird sitting on the fence, so I want to keep that. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to my frame. I'm going to go absolutely wild and use Stampin' Seal because I may have got some given to me, and let's just say I'm not a Stampin' Seal girl because I find I just mess it up. It's user error. I'm more of a liquid glue girl. You have to tell me in the comments what is your favourite adhesive, because for me, I am a glue girl. Okay, so I'm just sort of framing this up, sticking that down. Now let's see, what I'm going to do now is actually just trim it up with my scissors. So I've got a nice framed edge. What do you think? Can I make all 3 cards can I do it? It's like the time is on because, you know, you don't want to hear Elijah running around the joint in a live video. So the pressure's on. Okay, so I'm going to, because this one is still quite, I want to say loopy, but what's the word? I don't know. I've lost my words. So I'm just going to sit that over the side there. This one, it's looking pretty dry now. I'm going to frame up. I've got so much stuff on my desk. So for this one, I have got a basic black card base. I've got some Timid Tiger, and I'm going to mat that on the Timid Tiger. I think I went a bit crazy with the size of that, so I'm not sure what I was thinking, but we can cut that down in just a moment. So what did I say it was? 9.5 by 13.8. So let's cut this piece to 9.7. As I said, I will have the imperial measurements. If you are new to my channel, every weekend when I do my live video, I always have a free PDF. So I do try my best to include metric and imperial measurements. So that should be on there. Okay, so now I'm going to go with glue because I want to, if I don't get this quite lined up, I want to be able to move it. So I'm going to go with my trusty Tombow glue. So I have actually had questions, by the way. I do use the precision glue press, yes, but I do use Stampin' Up glue. So I'm using my Tombow in there. I like my good old faithful Tombow glue, so I do use that. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty even. I just need to flatten it out. So what I'm going to do is put it face down. And I have one of these tools which I use on my stamp positioning tool. I actually use it if I need to really make sure that glue is flattening out that piece. I actually turn it face down and rub it over the top, and it helps to sort of flatten it out as well. So I'm just going to give that a good rub, and then I find that that is nicely adhered and a lot more flat. So that's going to go onto my basic black card base. How about we do all the card bases together, hey? And then we will do the other bits. So I do want some strawberry slush, which I'm going to need my trimmer in here. So let's bring our trimmer in. I think I'm going to need another sheet because for some reason Stampin' Up gave us letter-size cardstock at on stage when we actually can only get one card base here in the South Pacific out of that. So I want to do 9.7. So I'm going to have a lot of scrap because I'm really not using it efficiently, am I? By 14. So that's going to be my layout for this one. And then for the other one, I want to use Secret C, but I need to work out how big my frame is. I'm really winging it this time, aren't I? So I've got if we go 9.5 by 13.7. Let's see. So if we go 13.7 this way by 9.5, should give us a nice layer. You don't even have to do a layer. You can stick the frame right to the card base. I think I need a new trimmer blade. That's looking a bit fluffy. Okay, so they're all my layers done. Actually, I won't put that away yet because I do want to do a couple of card bases. I think I already have a black card base here, so I'm going to do my card base. That's going to be for my scene card. So that's going to go for that one. And then this one, I'm going to do tone on tone. So I'm going to do Secret C again. But I'm going to have to grab some A4 because, you know, letter size cardstock is just a pain in the bum. So I'm going to go 14.8, score it in half at 10.5. That's going to give me my card base. all coming together. Let's get some liquid glue onto this framed layer. It was really fun using this stamp set 3 different ways. I really like having a good experiment when I'm playing with new product. And hey, you get 3 cards this week. I think you can excuse my pre-recorded video if I give you 3 cards. Okay. So I've given that a flatten out, very nice. That's what's going to go onto that base. So let's stick these layers down. I have to give a call out to the lovely Louise from Iced Images. If you watch her on YouTube, she does really cool fun folds. She cased my card this morning and I saw it on YouTube. It was very, very cool. It was my multifaceted card that I did. She cased it and it was very, very cool. Okay, so let's stick these down to their corresponding card bases. So I've got basic black for those and I've got secret C for that. Now I'm on a mission. I've got all of these foam pieces. These are from the foam adhesive sheets and they're kind of just scrap pieces from doing various projects. And I think what a waste if I don't use them. So excuse my mess. I'm just literally using up scrap foam. I thought, you know, such a waste not to use them. I haven't actually checked their height compared to a dimensional, but I think they're roughly the same, these ones. It's only the foam adhesive strips that aren't. So let's just adhere this one down with foam to that basic black card base. And then we want to do, oh, goodness me, I'm bashing myself up in here. I want to do the same with this one, so I'm going to stick that one. I've been so busy that doing so many different tutorials and different commitments. So honestly, I reckon in the last 2 months I've made a good 200 cards. That's including on stage swaps. I thought I'd better actually verify they're not 200 different tutorials. But because when I do a tutorial like this one, I've actually already made these 3 cards. So it ends up being 3 cards ends up being 6 cards. So it's not hard to come up with lots of cards when you're doing multiples of each card. Okay, so that's stuck down to the base. So then we can start. Oh, I need to do this one. I did one extra thing to this, and this is a technique that I love to do. So I'm just going to open the card up, and I'm going to grab my Secret C ink pad. When I want to add a bit of extra texture, I literally run my ink pad down the card very lightly, and it gives us this brush stroke look, which I thought I'd better mention to you. Something I do with my ink pads is ink pads do not last forever. They do, like a sponge dauber. You should get a fair while out of them. Some colours are better than others, but I like to write the date. When I purchase them and put the labels that are on the back on the sides here, I like to write the dates. In this case, 0325, so March 25. That way, if it goes off within a year, I think it's a year or 2 years, you can actually tell Stampin' Up. So writing that date, you don't have to go back through every single order to find out when you ordered it. If you're having an issue with an ink pad, you can refer to the bottom there and know when you purchased it. So that's just a handy tip. So I've done that. Now I'm going to add my backing on, and I did actually just finish all of those foam pieces. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' Dimensionals for this one. Stick that on. Got no nails at the moment, so I think it was last week you would have seen I had Stamping Lounge coloured nails. I was sitting there, I was watching a series on Netflix, and I just didn't like they were chipped. I sat there and I was picking off my nail polish. It's not good for your nails. Whoopsie. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that, centre that up, and stick that one down. Okay, we've got all of our backs done. You saw how I did all those different layers. So let's do the next bit of the cards while I drink my coffee. I've done some bits ahead of time. So I have die cut out, these are from the Gallery Blooms dies. I've die cut out this die here in the gold 3 times. And I've die cut out, I keep going to call this Melon Mambo, but Strawberry Slush, Timid Tiger, and Secret Sea. Now, I really like the Gallery Blooms dies because they've got lots of little decorative pieces that you can use for multiple different cards, different colours, all sorts of things. So I have already got those, and I'm going to use them across the different cards. So that's the colours I'm choosing there. And then I'm going to do a gold thread bow as well. This is all I have left. This is about my 3rd or 4th roll of this. I love it so much. So I better do an emergency order. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm actually going to adhere these ones to the card roughly where I know they're going to go. And then we can start constructing the rest. So we're going to create a bit of a cluster here. So just going to add a glue dot there. I'm going to stick it roughly where I want it and come across and do the same. So although I've done these cards 3 different ways, I'm actually constructing them the same. So it's kind of like doing swaps, really. They're bulk creating, but with 3 different looks. This glue dot's not loving me. What are you doing? Come back over there. Did I add that one there? I think I did. Okay, so I've got those on. Now I want to tie my bows. I did a double bow for each, but let's see how many bows I can get out of this remaining gold thread, because I just don't know. Let's see how we go. Love a good double bow. So satisfying. Okay, there's one. They probably don't need that big of a tail on them. Oh, I may get all 3. Okay. Gone quiet while I tie a bow. Apparently I can't talk. Maybe that's what I need to do more often. Tie bows, and then I won't dribble nonsense so much. Look, emergency order, guys. This stuff is an online exclusive as well. So I didn't realise, sometimes people didn't realise that we have products that aren't in the catalogue. So we have loads of online only products. So you have to go and check out the online store, which is linked in the comments, because we have loads and loads of products that you can only find online. So I have done the double bow for each. I may not stick those yet. What I'm going to do is actually show you the sentiments. So you know what? I'm just going to stamp it with you. I was going to use ones I've already stamped, but I thought, you know what? We've got time. I just have to clear a bit of room for Gerard. Okay, so I'm going to get my More Messages stamp. This is such a cool stamp. You definitely need it. It's a background stamp similar to the one I just used. So let's bring in the Misty Moo. I'm going to peel off my Peaceful View stamp. I'm just going to pop this one down. Now, I do suggest cutting a 1/4 sheet of cards. Actually, not a 1/4 sheet. You need bigger, because I found that it was slightly a little bit too much for squeeze. So let's give it a measure. I recommend 12 centimetres or 4 3/4, or 15 or 6 inches. Okay, so what did I say that was? 4 3/4 by 6 inches, or 12 by 15. So I'm going to do 12 by 15. So it's a little bit bigger than your quarter sheet because otherwise you won't be able to catch the whole die on there. Hopefully that was right because I know I had issues last time. So you want to capture that all on that sheet. So now on the previous ones, heat embossed it, but I'm not going to this time. I'm actually just going, I might do Stays On actually because Stays On does give you a really nice deep black. So let's just ink that up with some Stays On ink. Give that a bit of pressure. Yeah, I love using a stamp positioning tool because if I pick that up and it's not stamped 100%, which I can actually see there, the Hooray didn't stamp as well as I would have liked, so I may as well add a little bit more ink to the whole thing. I know that the Hooray is there, so I'll give it a bit more pressure. Pick it up. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I'll clean that in just a minute because I don't need to do all of that. Let's pull in our big boy, and I'm going to get the die. So this is the matching die. Now, the cool thing about this set, probably the biggest selling point, is that it's one stamp, one die. Super easy to get all of those sentiments at once. And then you line it up where you can see. Now, I think this was the issue. So this one here is going to get cut off because you do need it a bit larger. I knew that I was doing something wrong. So when I said 6 inches or 15 centimetres, probably do it half an inch more maybe, or maybe less actually, probably a quarter of an inch, because otherwise you're not going to quite get all of those. Now I just need something to hold that in place. Let's do that move. No. Let's run that through. And then lift it up and look at that. Look at all those sentiments. So if you don't have this one, you definitely need it because it's just great. You can store those in a baggie, come to it, or you can even have them in a little bowl on your desk and you've got loads of sentiments to use and they're ready to go. So it's like crafting, making it easy anyway. Okay, so I want to bring back in my bases here and I can decide which sentiment I want to use for each. Now, I'm just trying to think what sentiment I use for these. So I've got a bit of a mix going on here. So let's see, I feel like I should use a happy birthday because I can always use a happy birthday card. So let's just go happy birthday for that one. I've lost my take your pick tool. It's hiding. I only have about 8 of them. Okay, so let's stick this little bow in there. Cut those tails. And then I want to add some dimension. I'm just going to add a couple of dimensionals. I'm actually doing them to the edge because there's a fair bit of bulk going on in the middle. So I'm just going to add them to the edge. Now that little tail's being a little bit naughty, so I'm just going to stick it underneath. Stay there. Trim it down a bit, I think. Okay. We'll finish that off in just a moment. So for this one, I might do, what have we got here? I already had a time to celebrate. You can do anything. That's a bit cool. Maybe I'll pick the last one as well. So I had always here for you, but I might do Did I have that one? No, I think I'm going to do your Simply Incredible. So lots of great sentiments. So let's stick these ones on. Stick that bow. Trim the sentiment down. I'm going to add some dimensionals to this one. I've been using my mini dimensionals a lot more lately. I was never nice to them, never used them. I was never very inclusive of them, but now I've been using them a bit more. Okay, now this last one. Funny, my original looks a lot darker. So the more you add that ink and keep going back, the darker that will be. I love that you can do that. It's just a lot of fun to experiment with the inks and the colours. I'm just chucking the dimensional backings on my floor. Loki's going to have a ball later because he thinks that he's not fed enough. So if you don't know who Loki is, by the way, I realise I sound like I'm talking about my son. It's my older golden retriever. He loves eating paper off the floor. So I'm just going to add a bit of Winker Stella. I just need to push it a bit more because there's not much coming out. And we love a bit of sparkle. Okay, so that's my Winker Stella. That's actually, no, that's not the card finish because we need some pretties. So I'm going to use these in colour dots. So the Secret C was just hiding there. So I like these. I really like because they've got one of each. They've got 3 different sizes, and I'm not much of a fan of the ones that only have the one size. I prefer to have different sizes because I think it looks nicer. It's easier to use them when they come in varying sizes, I think. So I've got Secret C for that one. I'm going to go with my Strawberry Slush. You know, I think Strawberry Slush is just a fun word to say. Strawberry Slush. Doesn't look like a snake. Shh. Then I've got my Timid Tiger for that one. So that's the card front done. Isn't that fun? Now, should I quickly do the insides? I think I can. I think I've got time. I've got 15 minutes before Elijah finishes school. So let's do it. I'm going to cut my card inserts. So I'm just going to take a bit of basic white. Now, just an update on the basic white situation. So if you didn't catch it, our cardstock is going up in price. I will just pop this up on the screen while I cut my inserts. So our prices are going up in the cardstock, and that will happen as of the 5th, I want to say the 5th of May, the new catalogue. Anyway, they are going up, so it's a good time to stock up on cardstock. Obviously, our cardstock is still awesome. I have compared our cardstock prices to other comparable companies. When I say that, I'm not talking about the cheap cardstock, because obviously we do have premium cardstock here at Stampin' Up, and also you won't be able to buy like your lemon lime twists or your real red cardstock elsewhere because the colours won't match. Now, in saying that, there were some big updates. They were going to discontinue the A4 or letter size, wherever you are, basic white cardstock. There was a lot of talk about that. A lot of people weren't happy. So they've said now that they actually are going to keep it. It's not listed in the catalogue. It will only be an online exclusive because obviously this change was already in print. So that won't be reflected in the catalogue. Sorry, I'm just trying to know what I'm doing while I'm talking. But yes, if you want to beat the price increases, it's like when fuel goes up in price, or gas if you call it that, we go and we fill up our car. So if you want to get good value and beat the price increases a little bit and save for longer, then definitely go and stock up on some cardstock. Great reason to join if you're not a demonstrator, because you can get cardstock. You'd add a whole heap of it to a starter kit, or you can get it at a demo discount. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that the A4 Basic White is actually staying now. Thank you to all the people that let Stampin' Up know that we do need our A4 cardstock. So originally they were going to only have it in 12 by 12, and that's just not ideal for us crafters. It would be painful to make our card bases, etc., with the 12 by 12. So I just wanted to mention that that's what's happening. So you can still get your A4. Your normal white will be going up, will be reducing, sorry. There's normally 40 sheets in a packet, or has been for quite some time. There is now going to be 24. And I don't think you can alleviate that now, because we all went like crazy. When I say we, I mean like every demonstrator, every customer went like crazy and stocked up. So now it's the Basic White Thick and the Basic White are both now out of stock. So I don't believe, I can't say for sure, but I believe that they won't have any 40 packs left. Okay, so I've cut out 3 Basic White, and I've got a Timid Tiger, a Strawberry Slush, and a Secret Sea. These ones are cut to 10.2 by 14.5 each. These ones are cut to 10 by 14.3. Now I'm going to grab a stamp set that I use just to decorate the inside a little bit. I took the Gallery Blooms. So this is the stamp set that goes along with that one that we've used on the front here, as well as the frame. I'm going to use this beautiful one here. I thought it was understated but still really pretty. So I'm just going to mount that up on a block, and I'm going to just bring in this piece here, and let's start with our Strawberry Slush. This is going to be a long video today. Oh, well, not really. I've done longer ones than this. Okay, I'm just going to stamp that twice with the Strawberry Slush. I am going to have to clean my stamp in between. My next piece, I'm going to do my darling Duckling. These are very inky ink pads. I would recommend sort of massaging them in the back of something to really get that ink settled into the pad. I would do it, but I'm kind of pressed for time, so I'm just going with the flow here. So I'm just literally stamping it twice, varying the height a little bit there. Now, I don't know, I think I might have actually done a little bit of inking there. So we'll do a little bit of that. Just clean this off. So let's bring back in the Timid Tiger. And I'm going to grab a blending brush, grab a little bit of that Timid Tiger, and just very gently add a little bit of colour. Very pretty. Now I would add some spritzing, but I think I'll leave it. So I'm going to grab the Darling Duckling. Just add a little bit of blending. My desk is going to be fun to clean up. But hey, I actually did better at drinking my coffee during this video. I'm trying to not contaminate inks while not cleaning as I go. Okay, there's my Strawberry Slush. I'll move this out of the way, and then we can add these to our bases. I'm just going to get a little bit of glue. You could add an additional sentiment, but I think the one that I've done for the front is good enough. Now, speaking of that stamp, some people, we've had ones that are similar in the past, and some people have cut them apart, or they've bought 2 stamps, kept one as a whole piece, and one they've cut apart so they can stamp individual sentiments. I don't know. It's up to you. Why do I have Darling Duckling? Goodness me, I was meant to colour that Secret Sea, but guess what? It's going to be Darling Duckling now because I can't be bothered. Yeah, so I couldn't be bothered. I want to keep that stamp as a whole because I'd rather just stamp it out and get more sentiments. I don't know. It's up to you. You could buy 2 if you really want to. Okay. I love having a matching inside for my cards. I just think it really finishes off the card. Obviously, you don't have to add a matte. Given that price increases are coming up on cardstock, I really should learn to live without the mattes. Oh, that's the cards I've already done. Silly. But, you know, old habits never die. That's what I think anyway. Okay, that's that one. And then our strawberry slush. Do you know what? I did a matching envelope ahead of time thinking I'd only make 1 card. So I've made 1 of the matching envelopes because I didn't plan to make these 2. I planned to make this one live. But I ended up making all 3. Oh, look, I even cut the inside ready. I forgot about that. Okay, so there is our 3 insides done, just stamped really simply with a little bit of blending. And then there's our 3 card fronts. So I have now got 6 cards using the Peaceful View stamp set. So really fun to try and use it in different ways. Stamp it on your DSP, emboss it and add some colour over the top with your blending brushes, or use your sponge daubers and have a multicoloured tree. So lots of different ways to use it. You got a sneak peek at cutting the sentiments and using that fabulous die. Really awesome. Yeah, and I showed you the Gallery Blooms bundle. So lots of different new things. You got a sneak peek at the new colours. So I hope you enjoyed a little peek at some of these things. I didn't even show you. This is how I did the envelopes. The envelope is literally just the same way as what I did the inside of the card. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, I will be back next Saturday. Don't forget to like the video, give it a subscribe if you want to see my videos, my future videos. And yeah, do you know, I'll see you back in April because this will be the last one before we hit April. That's crazy. Speaking of the end of March, don't forget the Global Creative Project tutorial is still available for March. It features the Floral Delights suite. You can purchase it. The link to purchase my tutorials will be in the video description on YouTube. Otherwise, if you order with me, if you're in Australia and you place an order in my online store, you will get that for free with a handmade card. Plus, you get your 10% rewards. So don't forget to do that. And I will see you guys next week or next month if you want to look at it that way. So see you guys and have an amazing rest of your weekend.